Hello, and welcome to Replay Value. Of Hyouka's themes, the second ED is my definitive favorite. Not because it's layered in tons of thematic depth, but because it's so upbeat and cheery that it is 100% guaranteed to bring a goofy smile to my face. I love practically every element about it. The mystery novels in the background that homage the genre and provide a nice visual touch to an otherwise plain background, the mugshots, the outfits, and of course the song, which I don't know the lyrics to outside of mystery and fantasy, but I do my best at sounding out the rest of them, or at the very least humming along. And all of that is perfect if you subscribe to the belief that EDs should be designed to leave the viewer in a positive frame of mind, regardless of the content of the actual episode. Kimi ni Matsuwaru Mystery, or The Mystery in Connection to You, which I'll just be shortening to Mystery Connection, definitely achieves that, and is a good tonal match if you take Hyouka's second half in its totality. I think even if you believe that EDs should bridge the tone of the episode to that more positive headspace, or just a straight line in terms of maintaining those emotions, so many of Hyouka's episodes end on positive or hopeful notes that, at worst, it's a bad match for only a couple. I'd personally argue that it's maybe not ideal content-wise for the festival arc, since the ED storyline is a bit more romantic than that arc in execution, or at the very least where Chitanda is emotionally, whereas it's perfect for the later standalones where those two relationships are the focus. In a more perfect world, Hyouka would have 4 EDs, one for the first 6 episodes, another for the following 6, one for the festival arc, and one for the final 5. It could even be broken down by volume, which would be convenient given the show's tendency for including volume titles at the end of its episodes. But that's just a dream, and we have, at the very least, one great ED to talk about. Mystery Connection has a fun storyline to match its upbeat song. Chitanda and Mayaka are on the case as detectives looking for the wanted Houtarou and Satoshi. When they catch them, their embarrassment about being so close to their crushes gives the two boys a chance to escape, leading the two girls to try and chase them down, but to no avail. It's cute and I think plays with the bashful sides of Chitanda and Mayaka super well, with Houtarou and Satoshi giving no thought to their feelings, being in the latter's case extremely fitting. There has been an argument for as long as this ED has been out who each character represents. Go into literally any comment section regarding this ED and you're bound to find people arguing about which character is which. I'm happy to say that I can put to bed this argumentation, and I'll start with the characters of Houtarou and Satoshi, which seems to be the most hotly contested. Houtarou is the gentleman thief Arséne Lupin, and Satoshi is the criminal mastermind James Moriarty. If we take the words left behind in their word clouds, we can see Lupin's adventures, like the Crystal Stopper and the Teeth of the Tiger. You don't want me to try and pronounce those in the original French. Though we have no such luck with Satoshi's, random phrases like criminal strain and undiscovered crimes. But if we go to the first frame, before the image is formed, we can see a few more terms. Most of it is similarly generic and random, no story titles back there. But critically, there's the phrase treatise on the binomial theorem, which fans of the Sherlock Holmes title, The Final Problem, will recognize as the fictional work of a young James Moriarty. So we've solved the second half, and everyone will stop arguing about this forever, I guess in my dreams. However, what I believe to be the easier half of this solution is not so simple. Chitanda is definitely Sherlock Holmes, there's no argument to be made there. But Mayaka presents a problem. I had long thought that she was Watson. The hat is similar to the Dr. Watson hat, and it would make sense since Moriarty is a Sherlock opponent. Lupin and Holmes have had some run-ins in LeBlanc's stories as well. But, unfortunately, the same element that allowed us to prove Satoshi's portrayal of Moriarty is what sinks that theory. Every single story that's shown in the back of the screens where Mayaka is alone are Agatha Christie titles. Admittedly, I don't know every single title off the top of my head, so it's possible that some are not, but even still, overwhelmingly Christie is represented in Mayaka's sections. Stories like Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, Elephants Can Remember, Evil Under the Sun, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Curtain. This, in my opinion, sinks the Watson theory, and opens up the door to Christie's two most famous detectives, Poirot and Marple. I've concluded it's Poirot, mostly based on the fact that Poirot's limp would make a cane a no-brainer for that part of the outfit, in addition to the famous bow tie. And the Albert Finney portrayal featured a cane that has the same exact bird topper. It's not hard to imagine Mayaka picking the most iconic version of Christie's most famous detective. I won't say that Mayaka is 100% Poirot, as I would for the other three characters, but I'd have a hard time making the argument for literally any other character, and additionally this makes Mayaka and Chitanda equally strong detectives instead of one of them being a sidekick, which I personally prefer. And with that, I think we can put this argument to rest. I never thought I'd produce definitive solutions for things in Hyouka, given that so much of what I talk about is up for interpretation, but damn, it feels good to have solved that problem, at least for my personal headcanon, especially since I've solved a mystery in a show about solving mysteries. This wouldn't feel like a real analysis if I didn't talk about how I loved the use of the magnifying glass to provide double exposure, though notably it magnifies the words in the back of its shot, like here, instead of acting like a screen to where the character usually is, and how those same shots set your eyes up to be focused on the proper side of the screen by using that double. All in all, this ED is a favorite of mine, not only because of how upbeat it is or how it homages the genre it belongs to, but in how it implements those homages in interesting ways to not only tell us who the characters are portraying, but also to provide really visually engaging images by using direction to create various and contrasting movements, and of course, the subtleties in character expression and the not-so-subtleties in the reaction shots. Mystery Connection is practically the ideal safe ED. A strong, happy track, not much depth, but consistent with the characters we know and love, and a fun storyline. It's a good complement to the second OP, but we'll be getting to that after we talk about the best episode in the second half of the show. But until then, thanks for watching.